Good morning. My name is Karen Kong, and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and welcome to my This or That Thursday. Every week I try to post 2 cards to my group and ask you to choose 1 card for me to make live on Thursday mornings. It's been so busy lately. I've had several big things going on in my life that I had to take care of, and so I've only made 1 card this week again, but I've brought back the box top fun fold card and used it with the Wildflower Birthday DSP, and it looks so great together. And I customized it so that it would fit one of the specialty paper die cuts. Well, it's not a die cut, you have to cut it out yourself, but it's a little pre-printed piece of matting paper, or however you want to use it, but it's a rectangle, and I used it for the top of this box. So I customized the measurements so that we could use this. Okay, so I am going to get my computer set up so I can see your comments while we are crafting. If you're joining me live, I would love to have you join in and say hi and tell me where you're watching from, and ask questions, because it is way more fun to have friends joining in and chatting with me, because it's just not my thing to like talk to myself. So please do say hi. I'm just gonna get this up and going. All right, the computer's up and running. Let's move my my camera over to the desktop. So just close your eyes while I mount it on my desktop. Okay, just a second. Here we go. All right, I think that looks straight. All right, here we go. So here's the card, and it's called a box top because this opens up. It looks like a little box, and you just pull this out from underneath, and that's how it opens. So I think it's really fun. See how it's something that just pops out to this and is highlighted inside your card, and then you can write down here. So that's the card we're making today. It's not hard at all. Let's get started. We're using the Wildflower Birthday Specialty DSP, and I use the coordinating stamp set for this suite just to do a little bit of stamping, but you can use whatever stamps you have. But my goal for this was to use like just the paper to create the whole card and make something really cute out of it without too many extra things. So let me get these out of the way, make some room. So I do have an 8.5 by 11 sheet that I cut already, a strip off of, to make the card base. Good morning, Cassandra. Thanks for joining me. If you're new and you've never watched before, I always post the measurements and the products and the product descriptions and everything in my video description after it uploads to Facebook. And you can also catch the replay on YouTube. I always post my videos there as well. So don't worry about writing everything down, just watch and enjoy, and get some inspiration to use this paper or whatever's in your stash. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut the card base. So my card base is, like I said, I adjusted it to fit this piece of paper. Let me just show you. So I put all my die cuts from that DSP pack in this what do you call it, the case, and I've cut some of these already. So I've already pre-cut like some of these and used them for other things, and these are the pieces that that came out of there too. So you can use whatever you like. You could use this side too, this piece. So I used the blue because I liked the pop of color there, but I think this would also work too. So you know what, I'm going to use this. I have one where I have the, yeah, I have a little bit of an edge still. You can see there's like a tiny little bit of edge still from the neighboring piece, so just need to trim that off, and I've already done it on this piece. So let's use that one. Okay, so my card base is 3 1/4 by 9 3/4. So this is an 8.5 by 11. I already stripped off a 3 1/4 piece. So let's take another one. 3 1/4 inches wide. Okay, and I want it to be, what did I say, 9 3/4 long. So let's get out the arm here. So 9 3/4. And we're going to score that at 5 1/4 inches. 5 1/4. So that's our card base. Okay, I need a piece for the top, which is 3 3/4 by 2 1/2. So let me just see if this leftover piece here, I have a feeling it's not wide enough. Yeah, this is 2 inches wide. So let me grab another piece. Let me see, I have a lot of leftovers from my class where I made photo album. So let's see, there's got to be, I think this piece here looks like it's big enough. Let me just double check. So this is 6 inches long and 2.5 inches wide. Perfect. Okay, so it's already 2.5 inches wide, so I just need to trim it down to 3 3/4. And then I'm going to score it along the long side, long ways, at 1 1/4. And this will be our box top piece. Okay. All right. What else do we need? We need the inside piece here. Okay. The inside white piece here. And we'll need to cut out that little part in the middle that will create the pop-up. Okay, so it's really easy. Let me get that out. All right, I need a fresh sheet of white. And we're gonna need 3 by 9 1/2 inch piece. So let's cut 3. And 9 1/2 this way. I'm gonna have to get that arm out again. 9 1/2 inches this way. And we're gonna score this at, let me just check my measurements, 5 1/8. Okay, now before I put this trimmer away, I'm going to go ahead and do the little cuts here that are going to create our pop-up. So I'm just going to burnish this fold. Okay, now I'm going to put the folded side in. It doesn't matter if it's this way or this way because it's going to be the same. Okay, so just make sure this is clearly in the picture. We're going to cut a 3 3/4 inch slit. Okay, a 3/4 inch slit at the 1 1/4 and 1 3/4 marks. Okay, so I'm going to put it over at 1 1/4 here. Okay, and I'm going to place my my cutting blade at 3/4 inches before I lay it down, because then I just have to push up. Okay, so it's lined up with 3/4 inches here, and I'm going to push up to make that cut, and then I'm going to move it over to 1 3/4. Okay, and we'll start it at a 3/4 inch as well here. Cut up. All right. Now to make it easy to bend here, I'm going to stick it here sideways, and I'm just going to make a score mark between them. And I'm lining this up with the 3/4 inch, because it is a 3/4 inch slit. I'm lining up with a 3/4 inch mark on the right side, and I'm just going to take my scoring blade and take it and score at the 1.5, right between the two cutting spots. Okay. So now you can see, I don't know if you can see, there's a score mark right here between the two. And I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing on the other side, just to make it easier to fold. You don't have to, it just adds a little bit of ease to folding it. Okay, so same thing on this side, all right? So now I'm just going to bend it and fold it both ways. Okay, let's move this aside and I'll just show you how this works. So you can open it up and you just kind of push this inward, and voila, you have your pop-up section. That's going to create your pop-up. Okay, so let's put that aside. We have a couple more things to cut. So this piece, if you haven't cut it out already, you'll need to cut that out. But I have mine. This is my piece that I'm going to use this time. It's the same length and width. Okay, and the only other piece of DSP I want is the cake DSP in this pack. Okay, I have a strip that I was using already, and this piece is 3 by 4.5. Okay, so this one's already 3 inches wide, as you can see, so I'm just going to cut it down to 4.5 inches. Oops. And I'm just making everything is lined up at the top. So that's my front piece. And I think that's all the cutting I need to do right now, so let's put this aside. Okay, now I'm just going to show you how this assembles. Okay, so let's fold this. And it's actually going to be like folded this way, okay? And this is where your DSP is going to go, right on the front here. Did I lie? No, I don't think so. I'm wondering why this is a little bit long. Did I measure this incorrectly? This is real life crafting. This always gets me. Something you think you've got everything marked out right, and suddenly it's not quite the right length. Let's just take the example and I'll just compare and see where I went wrong. So it is the right length. No. Okay, so my measurement here is wrong. So it is 4 1/4. So I must have cut it wrong. Let's trim it down 4 1/4. Let's double check. 4 1/4. Yeah, somehow I measured, what did I measure? 4.5. Okay, so it's supposed to be 4 1/4. That's better. There we go. All right, now it is the right size. Perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that on so we don't lose it. I don't have to do any stamping on here that I'd planned. I can just find my glue. Here we go. Okay. So let's put some glue on here. And I always make sure I don't go right to the edge so that I have room for the glue to kind of squish out, not squish out, but squish apart and not come out the sides. And I'm just putting this down on an angle while I figure out if I've centered it, given it enough space. There, and that's the beauty of glue, is that you have a little bit of time to kind of wiggle things around before you lay it down. Okay, and on the top part, this is your box top. Okay, I'm just folding it, and I'm going to take my piece here, and we're just going to center it. We're just going to center it right here, okay, and put it on. So now that we're nearing the end of the well, we're what, 2/3 of the way through the school year. We're coming down to the last few months of activities and school stuff, and things are getting busy. So as I mentioned, dance competition season is starting, and I am helping with rhinestoning costumes, and I'm still rhinestoning. So that's been taking up a lot of my time. Plus, my son has been looking for accommodations for next year, the second year of university, and that was a last-minute decision because I originally thought he was going to come home to live next year, but he decided to go and live with his friends, so that's great. I'm really happy for him to have that experience. He's gonna have to learn how to cook, or there's gonna be a lot of cereal and noodle soup bowls, I think, in his future. And we are trying to rebook travel plans. So there's been a lot going on right now. There is a lot going on, a lot of big things and decisions to make. Okay, so that's your box top. All right. So the way this attaches is that you just glue it, center it and glue it inside. You're going to put it up against your fold mark, but not over the fold mark, so that this can shut properly, okay? So you just want enough glue on the top inch, all right? So if you use the guide of the piece of paper, your folded paper underneath, you'll know that you can't go past, right? Because it's going to go, well, you can go as far as just past it. So it's kind of like just a guideline. Here we go. Or you can use tear and tape too. Okay, so up against the the score line, but not over. Okay, so that is how that goes. So that is pretty much the fun fold part, and now we're just going to put the part inside. So what I'm going to do here is, okay, now you'll notice that there is one short side and one long side. The long side is going to be the top part, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp before I put it in, okay? So if you look at my sample, my Make-A-Wish is near the top. So I'm going to lay it flat, and I'm going to leave it kind of laying inside the card so that I know approximately where I should stamp, because I don't want it to be hidden underneath the flap here. So I'm using Blueberry Bushel, which is the coordinating dark blue color in this DSP set, okay? And let me get out the stamps. So I'm going to use Make-A-Wish. Okay. All right. Did anybody get fooled by the Fool's Spring last week or during March break? Like, I thought March break warmed up here to, like, I don't know, plus 5 to 10 degrees Celsius, and like that was really warm. And I thought, oh, spring is finally here, and maybe we can put away winter coats and stuff. But no, we are not done. We still got snow this week. Not a lot, a couple centimeters, but still, and the temperatures went back down. So I was fooled temporarily, thinking that it was spring. Okay, so here I've inked up my stamp, and I'm just going to use this as a guideline for where I'm going to stamp. There we go. I'm just going to bring in my chamois and clean this off. Oh yes, Sandra, I heard, yes, there's an ice storm coming. That's really going to be fun. That's starting tomorrow night, I think, I hear. And I hope it's not a repeat of the ice storm that we had many years ago, but it's not sounding good. Yeah, that's not going to be fun. Okay, so the other thing I put inside here is the gold die cuts from the also from the specialty DSP pack. So if you haven't looked at this DSP, it's not just paper, it's 2 sheets of die cuts, and that is one of the die cuts that comes in it. So I had used part of a banner for my photo album project, meaning that I took the original die cut, I measured out only part of it, and I cut it off, and then use the rest of that for this card. So don't throw those pieces away when you just use a partial. I'm just gonna find, this is a whole piece here. I don't think I have another half piece. But that was perfect for this. And the ends are kind of hidden, so you don't have to worry if you like chopped it in the middle or wherever, but you can adjust it to what you need. So remember, this end is underneath the box top. It will not be seen, so it doesn't matter if it kind of ends in midair. It will be hidden underneath there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just kind of seeing where I can put this, and maybe this time I will cut it just like right here, so I use half. Okay. So again, I'm just going to lay this here while I work with it so I know approximately where it's going to end up. Okay, so maybe like this, and that both ends will be covered. So that end will be covered, and this one I will trim. Okay, so let's put a little bit of glue on the back of this. Actually, you know what? With the foil, I find that if I put glue, it makes it, you lose like the nice finish. It just looks a little bumpier or something. So I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to use my stamp and seal for this. And if you have a silicone mat, I recommend putting it on the silicone mat to apply the stamp and seal, but I just realized that my silicone mat is over by my rhinestoning setup, because it's very handy for using with the hot guns, because it is silicone and all the rhinestones have glue on them, so it's really handy for that. So kind of nice when your card making supplies are useful for other creative endeavors. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of stamp and seal on here. Okay. Oh, that is a terrible forecast, Sandra. Friday, Saturday, oh my gosh. That is not going to be pretty. I would say, you know, stay home and everything, but there's a dance must go on, doesn't it? Okay, so because I don't have my silicone mat here, I have sticky stuff. Luckily, I have my adhesive eraser here just to take it off, so my workplace is not sticky. Okay, so let's put this on. Okay, so I'm going to just let that overhang the edge bit so that I don't cover up my H. Let's take a look. Yeah, I think that looks good. All right, so let's just trim this off. Just look at the back side and use the edge of the paper as a guide and trim it off. Okay, so I think we can attach this piece after we have inserted this. So what I'm going to do, because I want it to lie down flat, okay, so I'm going to attach it to the bottom half of my card first. So let's put a little bit of glue on. And again, when you line this up, don't go over the scored line because you don't want it to impede the card from folding. Okay. Here we go. All right, so up against the line and centered, side to side. Okay. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on this side, and we are going to take this part, leaving this open, and we're going to place it on top, okay? And that's how you're going to attach it to the top. Wow, Sandra, that is all bad news. That forecast sounds horrible. Nothing like, is this close enough to the end of March where you say it's like out like a lion? I think that's what we qualify as. Out like a lion this year. In like a lamb, out like a lion. All right, so now that I've got glue there, let me just put this away. I'm gonna, remember, you're gonna leave this top part open, and I'm just gonna leave this and press it down flat on top. There we go. And that is how it gets attached, and look at that. All right, so now we've done most of the hard work. All I'm going to do next is I'm going to finish the inside. So the inside, I have a piece of vellum. You don't need this piece of vellum. You don't need a cut and emboss machine if you don't want to use something like this. You could use a circle punch. I'm not sure if there's a circle punch that is this size, but you could just attach this little piece of cake, which is again another piece of that I cut from this DSP pack, and just attach it by itself. So let me get that out. Okay, so I have my vellum, which I had actually die cut a whole bunch of pieces last time I used it, I guess, and I found it inside my pack of vellum. But let me just find the piece of cake. Oh, here it is. All right. You could use the cupcake too. The cupcake would work well here too, I think. So if you wanted to just attach the cake, you could do that. Okay, but I'm just going to put the vellum behind it. I think it just kind of helps to center the cake, kind of highlight it without really adding any extra color. Okay, so it's going to go like this. Okay, but you could do without it and just put the cake, and I think that looks great too. Okay. So I'm going to put some adhesive behind here, and when you're working with vellum, same thing as the specialty paper, vellum will wrinkle if you put glue on it, depending on how much glue, I guess, but I just find that it tends to wrinkle. So I try not to use glue. I just use some Stampin' Seal or tear and tape. That's all you really need. Okay. I'm just going to center this. Okay. And now I'm going to attach it here. Okay, so because I don't know exactly where this, I think the easiest way to attach this is I'm going to put a little piece of Terra tape right there. I want it to be behind my cake. I don't want it to show underneath the cake through the vellum. So what I'm going to do is just take a little piece of Terra tape and stick it to the top. Okay, so I'm just going to stick this right here along the top edge. And don't worry, it's a little bit long, yes, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just fold that little piece of adhesive back. Okay, so I've taken off the backing, I'm just going to roll that backwards and stick it in. And that's all I need. The Terra tape is pretty strong. So now I'm just going to center this and I'm going to press it on. Oops, and it popped in. Don't you love that about reality crafting? Things that happen that you don't expect. Okay, there we go. I'm going to put my finger behind it this time and then it won't fall down. Okay, so I'm just centering it and now I can use my fingers to press it on. And there you go. Oh, I do have one more thing to do. I have to close this. Now that this is fully assembled, I can take my ribbon. This is, which one is this? This is in my stash. Glittered Organdy Ribbon. That is what this is. I love this. It's so pretty. All right, I didn't measure exactly how much I needed, so I just kind of guesstimate, okay, that's how much I'll need to go around, and then I'll need another amount to make 2 loops, and then have some extra for the ends, okay? All right, so now you close it up. I'm just gonna wrap it around, right? I'm just gonna wrap it around. Let's center this a little bit more. Okay. Tie it shut. And like I said, you just use what you have in your stash. Because I didn't buy coordinating ribbon, so I tend to choose like embellishments that can be used with a lot of colors. So like this clear with glitter will go with lots of things. I like the other embellishment, these ones that are just plain gold sparkly ones. See, then you don't have to match with any color. It matches everything. This is the iridescent foil gems. So I tend to use those more than I do the colored gems. All right, there we go. I was trying to pin this down so that it wouldn't lose the tightness on the knot as I tied the ribbon. So you can center your ribbon or you can put it off to the side. It's totally up to you. I do want to put something on the front. I feel like I want something on the front of this and I had not figured out what I liked yet. If I find something that I like, I will take a picture and post it and share it. But for now, it is a plain front. Okay, so that one is centered. This one's off to the side a little bit. Just going to adjust my ribbon and then I'll trim it a little bit because one side is a little bit short. I'm trying to pull this a little bit smaller, and every time I go to tighten the knot, it's just too long. There we go. I am fussing with this ribbon, trying to make it lie the way I want it to lie, but it's not having it. Alright, so I'm just going to trim this end. And that is the card. So I'm leaving it off to the side, but I can always pull it and like shift it to the middle if I want. But that is the card today. It is not as hard as you might expect, right? Really not so hard. And you can use up those little strips, because I was wondering what I was going to do with these little strips in the DSP, and this worked out perfectly. I just adjusted all the measurements so that you can make this card with it. You can change it for the other flowery DSP on the front, totally up to you, and you know, create this fun box top card. So that is it for today. I can't believe it was so fast. Usually it takes longer, but this is a fun fold that really is not that hard, and lots of fun to make. So have fun with that. I am going to be away possibly the next 2 Thursdays because we have 2 dance competitions in a row, back to back. So I will have to be away for that and getting ready for that. So unfortunately I won't be creating for the next couple weeks, but hopefully we'll be back together in 3 weeks time. So in the meantime, have fun creating, and I hope I've inspired you to use something in your stash to make something new, and have fun. Bye.